Suerfers Paradise International Circuit is 2 miles. The width is 30 feet. The surface is hot mix bitumen, and the main straight is a half-mile in length by 45 feet in width, and the racing is in a clockwise direction.
Yes, and to do this today, this International 100 is 50 laps. While yesterday in practice we saw some very, very fast times being recorded. In fact, the lap record, official lap record, was broken in the practice sessions by 3.1 seconds, which is a terrific achievement. It gave the driver that recorded the fastest time, which was Chris Amon, who will go into pole position. You can see him on the left-hand side of your screen there, going into pole position. His average lap speed was 103.6 miles per hour. There he is, the #1 team Ferrari driver in the World Championship events for 1968, getting the last-minute check over. And we have, following the preliminary race that was on this morning, the 10 laps, a little bit of concern in the Ferrari team because of the on the left-hand pipe, which you can see just down at the rear of the car there, a little trace of water on the warm-up lap for the preliminary, and it did look like as if there possibly could be a faulty head gasket here, allowing water to get into the engine. But anyway, the Ferrari's on the line. Alongside of him will be the Gold Leaf Team Lotus car of Jimmy Clark, and there's Clark just getting out now. You can see him sitting up in the cockpit, getting someone, a well-wisher there, giving him the pat on the back sort of thing as they get through. The drivers get a lot of this on the start line. Clark just having a look around his car with his mechanics, and he qualified yesterday. His time was 1 minute 9.9 seconds. Now, completing the front row of the grid, we'll have Graham Hill, who's also driving a Lotus 49. Hill has just joined the Tasman Cup Series, coming out from England last week, and he's here to compete in the 4 races in Australia. You'll notice that the distinctive stripes on his crash helmet, this represents the Old Boys, or the London Rowing Club Old Boys, where Hill used to be quite an avid rower in days gone by. Well, on the second row of the grid, over to the inside position, we have a very, very fast time recorded. We're just trying to pick up, it's Frank Gardner there yesterday in the Alfa Brabham. This is a very, very unusual car, the first season we've ever seen it race. It's a lightweight Brabham chassis with a 2.5-litre V8 Alfa engine, and that's Frank Gardner just climbing out now. Frank had a very successful year in Britain last year, winning the Saloon Car Championship in a Falcon, and indeed a very, very accomplished driver in single-seater sports car or saloon car racing. Coming through now, we go to the young Londoner, 26 years of age, is Piers Courage, and he's driving the 1.6-litre McLaren Cosworth that he drove in Formula 2 races last year. This is a very light car. It's one of the quickest we've seen recorded here because of its engine size of 1600 cc's compared to the 2500 cc's of the others, and Courage is in good form indeed. He is lying second at present with Jimmy Clark in the Tasman Cup table, with 15 points to Amon's 27. Amon having a very reliable run so far in the Ferrari, and he's had 2 wins, a second and a fourth in the last race in New Zealand. We go back now to the inside again to pick up the BRMs, which have qualified fairly quickly there. That is Pedro Rodriguez sitting tucked away down in the car. You can't see much of the driver at this stage, but there's a lot of engine in behind him. This is a V12 BRM, 2.5-litre capacity, developing about 330 brake horsepower. The car itself was designed primarily for the Tasman Cup Series, and so far they haven't had a very good run. They won 1 race in New Zealand, Bruce McLaren doing this for them, and he notched up a 4th place elsewhere, but other than that they haven't had very much success in New Zealand, and we only hope that the BRM mechanics have had time to sort things out quite considerably for the rest of the Australian races. On the outside of him, we'll just try and pick them up for you as we see them go through. That looks... Yes, we're just trying to see that. That looks like it could be... Can't quite see the car number there. There's been a bit of a change on the grid since we got the grid positions. If we can sort of see who the driver is, it looks like Greg Cusack in the 2.5-litre Repco Brabham. It is at that. He did a fairly quick time yesterday in 1 minute 12.2. Didn't have a very happy run in the heats earlier on this morning. Couldn't quite get past the 1600cc car of Courage. Courage incidentally recorded a very, very quick time yesterday in 1 minute 11.4. So to give you just some idea that he's going extremely quick in this little 1600cc car. Coming back through onto the grid, we'll see them lining up now. We're just trying to see some of the activity there. We're obscured a little bit from the cars, but we had Leo Geegan who did a fairly quick time. That's Dickie Atwood there with the BRM, the V12, 2.5 litre, once again identical car to the car driven by Pedro Rodriguez. That Kevin Bartlett in the 2.5 litre 4-cylinder Coventry Climax engine. We have a great variety of engines today. We look at the V6 Ferrari engine, the V8 Cosworth Fords, the V8 Repco Brabhams, the little 4-cylinder 1600cc Cosworth Ford, and I'm just looking to see if we can get some idea where Denny Holm is. Now, this morning in the early race, Denny Holm got into a bit of bad luck in one of the corners there. He spun out and dropped it into a bank, and they had to work very furiously to get his suspension set up, and we're just sort of looking down on the grid to see if he's come through yet. I think this could be why the delay is, that we haven't got Denny Holm, the 1967 world champion, with his 1600cc Brabham on the line yet. So this was possibly why everyone else is we're just waiting to see him come through. We can have a look up there. There's the front row lined up. On the inside of there, Amon is ready to go. The red Ferrari this morning showed good form indeed to outclass the others. The results of the race, this 10-lapper, 20 miles it was, the two V8 Lotus, and here's Denny Holm just coming out now, car number 1. He's been given this distinction, and he will probably go and do well, they might not let him do a warm-up lap, and there's a great ovation going out for him. A grand effort by his mechanic, Johnny Martin, just the two of them working with the car throughout the Australasian Series. And you'll see them there just cleaning the tyres up, checking it out to see that it's okay. Quite a bit of activity going on, so it shouldn't be very long now before we see the cars fire up, and the 5th heat in the 1968 Tasman Cup Championship Series will be underway.
Meantime, the other drivers lower themselves back into their cockpits. They drive almost in a reclining position. Still more activity on the grid as cars are being moved back and forwards into their correct positions. And in the background you can probably hear the distinctive sound of one of the BRMs warming up.
Yes, Clive, they have to give them quite an extensive warming up because they have a very huge sort of oil capacity, and it takes a long time to circulate this through and get the oil going right down through the system.
The 1-minute siren has gone. Still a tremendous amount of activity down there on the grid. Well, the mechanics and sidesmen and assistants moving now back off the grid.
Well, the most important thing here, I think, is who's going to be into Dunlop corner first, because this is where the break is going to come. If Amon can get through there past the Lotuses, he can then head them off going into Lukey corner, which will be very, very critical indeed, especially on the first lap. But Clark is well renowned for his performances off the grid. He anticipates the starts beautifully and makes a real good start. So we're waiting to see just what happens here. The field is ready to go. Amon, Clark alongside of him. Then we've got Graham Hill, and behind is Leo Geegan. The flag is up. The BRMs are creeping up there. Rodriguez is going, and Clark's made a good start. There, Amon's quite handy. He'll be second in behind. Like it was, and made the jump on the field. A very good start indeed from Amon, and they head into Lukey corner now. Courage came through and actually touched Graham Hill's car. Here's Courage in the little 1.6 litre, and there's Hill going around the outside now, trying to get past Courage, but it's Clark showing the way now to Amon as they streak along the Shell Straight, down into Firestone corner. Round they go. There's the red Ferrari right in behind, a lot tighter. Clark using quite a bit of the track to keep the Ferrari at bay. We'll pick them up as they go into this very tight corner now, round through Lucas. There they go. It's Jimmy Clark showing the way now to Chris Amon. Clark very wide out, and here they come into the S's. Quite a handful indeed to drive through there. The rest of the field streaming through at this stage. And there's Clark showing the way now to Amon. Hill's there. Goes Courage. And it's Amon getting a toe down right behind the Lotus, and there he goes. He's on the inside. But can't quite make it. There's Graham Hill there, close to Gardner. Courage has dropped a long way back at this stage. He's way back in 9th place at this point, and this could be the tactics of the Ferrari team driver. Amon, as he tries to go through there, trying to get a toe from the big Lotus down the main straight, slipstreaming along behind him.
Down Shell Straight. Into the Firestone bend now, and it's still Clark leading by just a few yards from Chris Amon. Up Ensign Straight, coming to the tight Lucas bend now, right over to the left, clipping the line.
And a pit stop for Greg Cusack. 1.5 laps gone by, and Greg Cusack is called into the pit with the Repco Bradley. Anyway, it's still they're racing down up at the S's now, and there's a good view of Jimmy Clark at work in this Lotus 49. Car he won 3 Grand Prix with last year, but in 3-litre form. Today racing here with a 2.5-litre engine, and Chris Amon right in behind him there in the Dino Ferrari. Down the main straight, and once again Amon closing up just to lift there, pulling out to have a run. Clark staying to the line. Hill is in 3rd place. A Grandice going on back there. Jimmy Clark going through. Then we got Amon behind him.
These two streaking away from the rest of the field as they go through Firestone, up towards the tight Lucas corner again. We've got the clock on Jimmy Clark, and we'll give you some idea of just what he's averaging for the circuit.
3rd man at this stage is car number 5 on the screen, Graham Hill of Britain, getting the big Lotus coming through the corner, closing up on him. We've got Frank Gardner, who's right in behind him. And there's the 2 leaders again, Jimmy Clark in the Lotus 49, Chris Amon there in the Ferrari V6.
Into the straight, 1 minute 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1 minute 11.9.
And there's Amon once again making a bid to get past Clark. And they've already pulled out. They've pulled out of the 3rd car, which is still Graham Hill. Graham Hill in the 2nd Team Lotus car. Frank Gardner in behind him, having a very good dive in there. And Geegan now looking for a run past him on Shell Straight. But that's Clark.
That time means that they're averaging, even at this stage, 100 miles an hour.
It's Clark and Amon. Amon on a very much neater line through there, having a better drive at the moment. Here's Hill weaving around, and there's a very good dive indeed between Frank Gardner and Leo Geegan. The BRM's already tailing off a little bit. There's Vicky Atwood on in the control, 2.5-litre. But here's the 2 litres coming through now. That's Clark, Amon, Hill. Then we go back to Gardner. Geegan, Courage moving back up again. Then we got Rodriguez, Bartlett, and I would think that this stage, that Edward in car number 12, the last car that's just come into the interview on the screen, is in trouble. He pulled over to let the other 2 Australians go past him, and they're streaking along Shell Straight now is the 2 leaders. And here they come into Firestone Corner. Watch the entry as they come in. Clark getting the tail out. Amon very nicely. Right in behind the world champion. Now they go in on the braking again. You can see there's the Lotus getting back on the power. Round through Lucas Corner. Amon and into the S's, and here he is. He's down the way. Here's Graham Hill. Frank Gardner just coming in on the right-hander. Leo Geegan. There's young Piers Courage going through, who made quite a bit of a mess up in the first lap and dropped back about 7 places. Round into the main straight again, and the leader just coming through, and the clock is on him again.
1 minute 11.9 again. They're still averaging about 100 miles an hour. And
And there's no doubt about it that Jimmy Clark, I'm sure, is holding up Amon round through the tight bits of the circuit. You can see how Amon is keeping right up. There's hardly 10 feet away from each other as they go down there. Amon probing in the inside, on the outside with the Ferrari, but it's Clark still who's showing the way. The rest of the field coming through now. A very, very good dice and a wonderful drive going on there between Leo Geegan, the car going off the screen. There's Frank Gardner there, and Piers Courage in the little 1.6-metre Cosworth. Denny Holmes we haven't seen for a long time. I don't know if he's retired. We haven't seen. There's a car in the pit dressed for the but I think in the VRN. Here's Gardner going to Alpha Brabham, and right in behind him, car 18 is the 1.6-metre McLaren Cosworth of Piers Courage. And just going out on the right-hand side of the screen is the 2.5-litre Repco, but here's the leaders once again, howling down the main straight. Amon soft-pedaling here in this stage, getting a very good slipstream. And he has split the two lotuses up of Jimmy Clark and Graham Hill. Hill is back just a little bit at this stage.
We've just picked up Denny Holmes. He's lying about 9th in the field, going up now, street straight up towards Lukey Corner.
And they'll have to keep now, but Amon not letting Clark get away at this stage. Sitting in right behind him now as they swing round through Lucas Corner. We'll give you some idea. Look at Jimmy Clark correcting the car there very nicely indeed. It's quite a big car to come through. Amon still sitting there looking very relaxed indeed. There he is, he's working at the wheel, the number 1 Ferrari driver in the Dino. Out they go now, once again nose to tail, setting up exactly the same way to the corner. The entry into the main straight using all the circuit there, right through the top end, and here's Hill flashing round the top after them, still in 3rd place. Out they go. Denny Holmes, not having a very happy drive, obviously in trouble somewhere along the line. Down into Dunlop. That's Holmes now chasing after Kevin Bartlett. I can already detect a miss from the 1.6-litre car of Holmes. As round he goes there, and he can't make any impression. But here's the two leaders and Clive Hubbard.
And we've got the clock on the leaders again. They're coming through the S's now, past Repco Hill. Round the two bends, and we'll take them into the straight again. Round Castrol. There's the minute. As they swing wide into the straight now. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1 minute. From Jimmy Clark. Trying to lose Amon. Get him out of his field. Right at the last minute. Clark went round the outside of it, leaving it was Brian Page, who was down the main straight. He did everything right. He stayed on his line, and then Clark whipped out at the last minute, trying to break the slipstream of Amon. But Amon, too crafty for this, was ready for it and sitting there right in behind him. Here they are, nose to tail racing. Absolutely fabulous to see these two world-class drivers at work here. Round they go now, back into Lucas Corner. Look at the line they take. They're using the track. Clark setting it up beautifully as he goes through. Look at this. They change direction very quickly there. And there he is. The 1968 Grand Prix winner won 25 World Championship Grand Prix. Look at the end. Just watch him hit the marker there as he goes out of the corner. His exits and entries are absolutely faultless. He's coming through, but right in behind him is the 24-year-old New Zealander, Chris Amon, number 1 Ferrari driver. Once again, there's 10 feet separating them as they come down the main straight. Amon this time quite content to sit there and watch Clark go through the corner. Now they're into the 10th lap. As they swing round through, spin straight up to Lukey Corner again. Jim Clark still leading by about 1 second 1 or 2 seconds perhaps from Chris Amon. Round into Shell Straight. And they're really piling it on now, scorching along at about 120.
Well, now, in the pit area, the shooter in his car. He wasn't very happy at all right from the start. And there's a general scene of the pits. There's the Alec Mildren team there getting ready with their pit board, giving them the laps. There's 9 laps gone. And here comes Greg Cusack down the main straight. The pit area, quite a hive of activity at present with signalling going on. And there's Hello, he's past Clark. Clark's in behind him now. We missed that while we were in the pit. Amon's gone past him. He pulled out one and there's Clark tucked in behind him now. So this is quite a change. With about 10 laps gone, Chris Amon now is leading this International 100 as they come down here, down the straight, and he's trying to pull away. Now we'll see Clark, and Clark going through right in on his tail there as they go down. There's a shot of them as they head up towards Lukey Muffler corner. Round they go there, heading on for the run down the Shell Straight. And it's Amon just pulling away a little bit at the stage, but Clark right with him. That'll give you some idea of the speed. They're doing about 135. They break down to about 75, 80 miles an hour, then round through that, very, very sharp left-hander, quite sharp indeed. And they're into the braking area again. You can see the braking mark, 3, 2, 1. That's 100 yards out there. And it's number 4, the red Ferrari, showing the way now into the tight Essen. Clark closing up at this stage. And Amon, there he is. He's moving up, probing and trying to push him along through there. Make an error at this point, but the Ferrari driver, disregarding all this, pushing and probing there by Clark, and looking very, very relaxed, and opens up a gap again as he gets on the plough. Into the main straight.
Down the straight again. 1 minute 9, 10, 11. 1 minute 13.
And Clark's pulled out. He goes out of the Ferrari's slipstream, and he takes the lead. So it's Jimmy Clark. After about 11 laps gone.
An average of nearly 99 miles an hour.
Clark streaking along Shell Straight with around about the same distance back to the Ferrari. You can see it just coming into the picture now, going in on the braking. Clark really putting in a tiger lap this one. And there's the nose of the Lotus dipping down as he sticks it up to the corner. Swings it round there. Coming round through it. See the tyre marks as the cars from the earlier races have gone through there. There's a little bit of debris down there. Amon just sort of ripped a little bit there. You can see his arms moving as he sets the car up for the corner. Right in behind. They're travelling at that point at around about 80 miles an hour. Round they go and into the fast run, and now they run down the main straight again, where they'll reach the speed of around about 150 miles an hour. Down they come now. It's Clark looking in the mirror for the red Ferrari, which is filling them up completely at this stage. Into Dunlop they go again. There's Cusack, just spun. You can see the dust going past him. He's looking for a push forward. So Greg Cusack has spun. He's made one pit stop already. There's Clark coming into view now in car 6. And he's just approaching. There's Cusack over in the ditch down there. Avon goes through. The yellow flag was out, the caution flag, as they just drive it into the corner. There's the big Lotus. The big car is breaking it up, putting it on the power again. Really up and gets going. The big rear tyres, around about 30 inches of tread on them on the rear wheels. But right in behind him, once again, here comes the tactics. Here's Clark leaving it right to the last minute. He's approaching a slower car. In fact, the slower car's moving out of the way now. But Clark, right in, and he's trying to get it in between him and Amon. If he can slow him up and get him out of the slipstream, he won't have so much to worry about. And the rest of the field is streaming on by. We'll pick them up for you as we see them just coming into view. Clark setting up the Firestone corner. The yellow flag still being waved to them, a caution flag. The car number one that's just come onto the screen is the one that they lapped. There's Graham Hill, and he's being pressed quite hard at the stage by just trying to pick up one of the VRMs flying through the air Firestone. That would be Rodriguez, because we've still got Atwood in the pit. Heading home, way down on power at this point, and he's having a grand battle in lead with Kevin Barnes. He should be a long way in front of him if the car was performing anywhere. The 1967 world champion. Here's the leader. Jimmy Clark, Amon right in behind him, around about 15 yards behind. There's Clark going out of Dunlop corner.
In third place is Graham Hill, and in fourth place Piers Courage at this stage.
Yes, that's a very, very good duel going on there, Clyde, between Piers Courage, and they're into Lukey corner now. So we see the two leaders come in, then maybe we can pick up this very interesting duel going on between young Piers Courage in the 1.6 litre car and Graham Hill. There we are, look at this. He's followed right up behind. He's made up quite a bit of ground right from the opening lap. A 2.5 litre V8 car in front of him, and he's driving full force with the 1.6 litre car. A real David in the last battle.
Now back onto the leaders as they're coming round through Castrol, back into the main straight again. We've got the clock on them again. Jimmy Clark leading Chris Amon as they come out of Castrol corner into the main straight again. 66, 7, 9, 10. 1 minute 12 seconds. They're up to the 100 miles per hour average again.
And I wonder just what is happening with the Ferrari, if the water temperature is staying right. But Amon seems to be still pushing it quite a bit. He's closed up the gap on Clark now, keeping him right between his sights there, really making a go. And there's Clark trying to get the slower cars in between him and the blood red Ferrari as round they come through the corner there. Jimmy Clark looking quite happy. There he's looking in the mirrors. You can see him glance off to his right there. He's looking for where the Ferrari is coming. Setting it up. Look at this, a beautiful drift. Coming through. Look how close the Ferrari is right in behind him. Here's Clark once again. A master in action there. And through he goes. The tail moving just a little bit oily down there as it was in the earlier races. And streaky away, and they're clipping the edges a bit more now. And through they go. Down into the main straight. Once again, Amon. Slipstreaming, and here they come, setting up for a Dunlop corner. The only retirement we have so far is Vicky Atwood in the V12 BRM, which is still in the pits. And here's this very good third and four. Look at Courage clipping the edges out there, had the tail right out on the rough as he went round through there after hill. Very, very wild manoeuvre, but he's had it completely under control. Look at throwing this little McLaren round the corners. Down about 110 brake horsepower on the Lotus, on Graham Hill there, car number 5. And it's distinct colours as it goes through. And here's right in behind him, as the little McLaren really poking its nose up. And this player's got hill ramp a bit now. You watch the left hand wheel here moving a bit. He was right in the rough, and he looks like he's clipping the edges. So's there's the McLaren right in behind him. The two leaders go past us once again, going under Dunlop Bridge, and it's Jimmy Clark by about 6 feet to Chris Amon. There they go, nose to tail again. Clark leading, Amon right in behind. Amon tighter on the corners. You can see him with that extra yard, and he's making a bid down the inside. No, he's waiting for Clark to come across. Probing up all the time on Clark, making him really race, and the fans here today definitely getting their money's worth as through they come. Jimmy Clark on the nose, dipping now on braking as he sets up for the right-hander. Seems to be coming in through the corner. The power's on now. There's the tail moving just slightly. Into the S as they go. Amon tucked in behind him, looking so much more relaxed. There it is, working away in the cockpit of the Ferrari. You see the V6 engine in the back there, no engine cover on it at this stage.
Round Tasman corner into the main straight again.
Clark nearly did something wrong there, Clyde. Did you see him get it right on the rough there? Amon's really pushing him hard at this point.
A bad lap. 1 minute 13.9.
Yes, they're moving up through the traffic, and I think the circuit is getting a little bit greasy at this stage. Quite a bit of oil being deposited out there.
15 laps already covered.
Dickie Edward just coming out of the pit area now. That's the VRF. As through goes into the picture was Rodriguez. Hello, Amon's in trouble. It looks like Amon's car in trouble. Yes, it's blowing out. It looks like it's water or something coming out of the rear tailpipe there. Something definitely wrong. The Ferrari dropping something out through the pipes. Could be this problem. You'll see the puff coming out of the exhaust pipe there. This means that possibly the head gasket is starting to pack up. They will obviously looking at the water temperature gauge with a lot of concern at this stage.
Coming around once again, it's still...
But he's still tacked in behind the Lotus. So we'll just see how serious this could be. There it is as he lifts off. You can see the smoke coming up from the back. Well, this is bad luck indeed. This could be a very, very distressing sign. But he hasn't slackened off at all. He's still keeping it going right in behind the Lotus. We're just trying to find out how many laps have gone by.
16 laps. They're into the 17th now.
There's still a long way to go. They've got 33 laps to go, which gives them about 66 miles. This will be indeed bad luck for Amon if he has to. Quite a decisive race in the series, this one. This is the new engine that the Ferrari factory flew out, the 4-valve per cylinder engine fitted over the weekend. You can see it's starting to steam now from the top tank. You can see the steam coming up through, so the engine is looking very, very hot indeed. In fact, it should be running quite a bit hotter than it would normally be. But Clark's still in front and Amon's still in front. Signaling to the pits. But the Ferrari engine still sounding extremely sweet.
Amon still sticking to the leader, Jim Clark. Round Suzuki now, into the shell straight, round the back. Less than half a second separating the two leaders. Breaking down now as they come to Firestone. Swinging round into the short straight and up to the tight Lucas corner. Speeds breaking down to about 70, 75 miles an hour.
And here's Egan now, who's moved up very rapidly in the turn half-litre Retco Brabham, and he's starting to push Graham Hill in the Lotus 49. Also a 2.5-litre V8 car. Now we saw a very good race earlier on between Graham Hill and Piers Coe.
Jim Clark in the lead as they come down the straight. A better lap, just over 1 minute 12.
Yes, and there's something wrong with the Ferrari engine because it's pressurizing the oil out, and there's quite a bit of concern in the Ferrari pit. The pit signal's going out, and as they came past there, we saw the Italian engineer having a good look at the car, so things can't be quite right with the Ferrari, the Dino Ferrari of Amon. But there it is, it's certainly not far behind, and there he goes, closing in on braking onto the Lotus. But you can see this ominous puff of smoke coming out of the exhaust pipe as he settles it up right in behind Jimmy Clark there, going through the Lotus 49. right-hander. Knows the tail still. Amon roving up on the outside there. Getting a little better of the drive, I think, and certainly getting, but if he's keeping this car going, it's indeed a wonderful achievement. He's making Clark run very honest indeed, as down they come. Yes, both pipes now starting to show this puff of smoke as out he goes when he comes off the throttle.
Meantime, Piers Courage has moved into third position ahead of Graham Hill. The puffs of white smoke from the Ferrari becoming more consistent and clearer as they go round now through the tight Lucas corner.
And there's the third car at this stage, which is Piers Courage. He's left Graham Hill, he got past him very nicely indeed, and he's come through and he's in third place. And he's going extremely well indeed. Look at him getting it all sideways, keeping it on the road, though, beautifully, under control, puts the power on and brings the tail round, straightens it up, there you can see him working away there on the car, throwing this little car right through the corners. Here's the two leaders, you can't just about see Amon, he's right in behind them. And that's the little way as they come into Dunlop Bridge. The corner hidden at that particular point. And
still averaging about 12.9. That takes them back to about 98, 99 miles per hour average.
The little figures you can see on the side of the road are the braking points. They denote how many yards they are out from the corner. Here's the Ferrari trailing quite a bit more smoke now. It's getting a bit more predominant as he goes through. When he lifts off and changes gear, you can see it. There he is once again, coming off the throttle, back on the power again, round through the corner. And I think that little engine is probably getting very, very hot. Something obviously wrong with it. Another car coming into the pits as the leaders make their entry into the main straight, and it looks like Amon's making a pit stop. He's into the pit lane now. Car number 4 going in. Amon it is coming in, and you can see the smoke. So he's leading second place now. We're waiting for the second car to come through. It hasn't come through yet, and there's now. And Piers Courage has moved through into second place. And his car's starting to go sick. There he is going into Dunlop Bridge. And something's wrong with Courage's car, because he's sitting up in the cockpit looking to see what was wrong, and it's got a definite miss. This is quite dramatic.
It was very rough, going out of the straight into Dunlop.
If possibly we could have a look into the pits now, we'll just see what the Ferrari team are doing there. And there they are, and they're wheeling it away. It's all over for the Ferrari. It was definitely something was definitely wrong with it, because there it is being wheeled away into the dead car park, and it didn't take them long to sort that out. Bad luck indeed. And Jimmy Clark is one way out in front now. Graham Hill is still there. And right in behind him is Leo Geegan from Australia, driving his 2.5-litre Repco Brabham. He's moved up another place now with the retirement of Chris Amon. Just pick up the second, third and fourth car for you, but it looks like Courage's car back on tune again. But during the gap that he had, or something wrong with the car, Hill has closed up considerably on him.
25 laps covered, they're at the halfway mark.
Well, see, we had this very interesting duel with Jimmy Clark and Chris Amon, and Clark well out on his own at this point. Possibly we can have a look at some of the other runners as they come through. We'll pick them up for you. That's Clark running through, his lap chapter coming into view now. Here's the second car coming in onto the screen now, Piers Courage. Then we've got Graham Hill, Leo Geegan and car number 10. He's lying in fourth place. Going extremely very well indeed. Right behind the number 2 Lotus driver. As round through they go. The retirements we've got so far, Chris Amon, lap 24, and Dickie Atwood. And there's Frank Gardner is called into the pits. Doesn't look too good, having a consultation there with team manager Mildred, who's looking for his other car, driven today by Kevin Bartlett. Seems to be a bit of work going on there towards the electrics of Gardner's car. So the pits are getting very busy indeed. The BRM, there's Denny Holmes, still pressing on. Out on his own at the stage, not having a very happy drive, or he had a mishap in the earlier race today, and he bent the right rear suspension. But he's got it fixed up and he's racing, but doesn't look to be going as fast as we've seen him go. And he's still chasing Kevin Bartlett in the 2.5 litre 4-cylinder Repco Brabham. Graham Hill still holding third place in the stage.
There's a much improved lap by Jim Clark. He went through in 1 minute 12, which gives him 100 miles an hour back.
Well, those 3 cars on the screen there were the 2nd, 3rd and 4th cars of Curry, Hill and Geoghegan. Clark streaking along now, starting to lap one of the slower cars as through he goes. Long shell straight, lining up for the left-hander. Through he goes, round through then up the other short straight. You can see the car getting some idea of it. There's it braking. See the nose dip as it goes down hard on the brakes, coming back up again. And there's the power going back on by Jimmy Clark. Just getting it, swinging away nicely, lining it up for the next corner. Gets it up again. Very nice exit from the corner. The slower car he lapped, well back in the field at this stage. And we await for the 2nd, 3rd and 4th cars to arrive. There's Courage. No, it's Graham Hill has got through again now. Courage has had a mishap once again somewhere along the line. He could be inherited. It's Hill and Geoghegan having a very good dice indeed. So Graham Hill is up in 2nd place, followed in by Leo Geoghegan, the 2.5 litre Repco V8.
Well, there was that very rough lap of Piers Courage about 2 laps ago, and it must have been then that these 2 cars got in underneath him. Anyhow, they're streaking up the back stretch now, round in the Firestone, up into the short straight, and into the tight right-hander. Round through Lucas, into the S's, past Repco Hill, Leo Geoghegan,
Driving exceptionally well, Clyde. Really right behind there, the 1973 World Champion, Graham Hill.
What a wonderful improvement in his technique since he appeared up here at Lakeside last year.
A fine driver indeed, and you can see how close he is now to Graham Hill as they come down over the start-finish line, round in the Well, Frank Gardner's still in at the pits as Jimmy Clark still circulates very regularly. Courage has been up and down through the field a bit. Worked his way up from the first lap, made a very good start indeed, was about 3rd going out of Dunlop corner. Then for all of a sudden he seemed to lose it or dropped about 7 places. And there's Graham Hill at work in the Lotus 49. You see the V8 trumpet.
leader, Jim Clark.
Yes, and here come the second and third cars. They're about the length of the main straight behind Jimmy Clark at this stage. That's Jimmy Clark doing about 130 miles an hour and onto the brakes for the left-hander. There's the shot as he looks at, goes through there, using all the corner very nicely, moving up very rapidly, and here's the second and third cars. Hill braking the Lotus, setting it up for the corner. Very nice exit out of there, getting the power on. And you'll see the nose dip again very shortly. There it goes, on the braking again. The front brakes taking a lot of the work.
Breaking down as he goes through the sections up now as he comes down to the shell straight, giving it full power, scorching along at 120 to 125 miles an hour, braking hard as he comes through Firestone, round into the short straight, up Hampton Straight.
And as we see Jimmy Clark, Frank Gardner has just rejoined the race, going down in towards Lucy Corner. Yes, Frank Gardner just away now, lost quite a few laps in the pits. As Clark getting the power on. And Pedro Rodriguez has also rejoined the race. He's been out for quite a while.
1 minute 13 seconds.
That's how close they are, having a very, very good duel indeed. And just back about 20 yards behind them, we have the 1.6 litre McLaren, and there it goes, streaking into view now on full power down the short straight. Courage had a very mixed day indeed, a fabulous drive to get up into fourth place. He got past Graham Hill and was at one point running second. Aim on your tires. Here's Clark. Setting up for the right-hander. Going out of the picture as round come the second and third and fourth cars, and you can see Leo Gagan probing up on the outside, Graham Hill getting rid of him out of the slipstream as they come down towards the top. There they go, and it sounded a bit of anonymous miss there on one of the big eights as they went past us. It could be that Leo Gagan's car it could be just coming a little off tune at this stage. But it's very, very interesting to see once again Courage closing the gap on the two V8 2.5 litre cars as they streak along now at about 130 miles an hour down along Shell Straight. And here's the 1.6 litre McLaren bursting into view now, and he has closed the gap, closing it up quite convincingly at this point. And there's Geegan going under braking. He's taken Hill. A beautiful bit of driving as they went into Lucas Corner. Geegan got past Hill and moves up into second place.
Jimmy Clark the leader. 1 minute 10, 11. No, not a very good lap. 1 minute 13.3.
And some very, very Fine driving here by the Australian driver. And there's Hill will just takes it on nicely going into Dunlop corner. Of Leo Gagan and drives on the inside of him going into Dunlop corner. They're into the braking area once again for Lukey. Setting it up is Graham Hill. He'll make sure the door is closed this time. And there's the view. There's Courage is closed up quite a bit on them now. You can see him starting to come right into the picture once again. There's the fast zone. They're on the braking. They're back on the power again. And look at, there's the McLaren. A grand fight this is for the second, third and fourth place. There's Geegan once again sneaking up. And look at Hill moving across the circuit this time. Keeps the door closed. Geegan can't find the gap. Very nice action shot of Leo Geegan going out on the tail of the Lotus 49 of Brown Hill. Jimmy Clark.
34 laps covered.
34 laps. Sorry, 34 laps gone. And look at these three cars all in line astern. Courage could be still away going. Hill it is now, showing the way down to Lukey again. This is definitely the part of the race that's getting the attention, and Jimmy Clark has possibly slowed a little at this stage because they've closed the gap a bit on Clark. There they go along the little short straight, and here's the three. Hill, Geegan looking for the gap again. See him going down on the inside. Going on the inside. Hey, but it looked like Geegan there making another move. Not quite. Hill keeping him out. Keeping the tail out. See the tail move, and there's Geegan looking for it. And look at Courage. Courage is coming through. Very nicely there. Their three cars are nearly nose to tail. Graham Hill, Leo Geegan, Piers Courage. Into the main straight again, and for the run down the main straight to the start-finish line. Hill clipping the edges on the right-hander, setting up for the other right-hander, comes out over there, and there's the McLaren starting to go on the inside. Courage nearly looking, he goes through this part of the course very fast indeed. But there's the power of the V8. Repco's sort of pulling away a little bit there as Geegan gets back on the power pedal. As they come into Fastburn corner, it's Graham Hill, Geegan right in behind him, there's Courage, they're making a real race of this. Hill getting it just sort of nicely set up for the corner, just moving it slightly. There's the little four-cylinder, 1.6 litre McLaren. Courage having a very good drive indeed. Been in quite a bit of drama already today.
About the 1:12.9 to 1:30. Chris Amon out of the race. Nobody to push him now, so he's taking things rather more quietly than probably he would under other circumstances.
So there's Jimmy Clark as he's gone down through shelter. And there's once again Courage getting the tail right out wide with the little McLaren. Fully under control. And there's Gagan going down on braking, trying to get through on the inside of Graham Hill, but Hill's got the door shut very well indeed at this point. Jimmy Clark still holding on. Here's the second, third, fourth. Hill, Gagan, Leo Gagan, 2.5 litre Repco. Oh, nearly sideways there. Hill it is there. We're waiting for the other two to come into view. Gagan starting to get a little erratic there, getting right under pressure now. He's got Hill in front of him and Courage giving him the hurry up from behind.
Clark is actually only leading by about 10 or 11 seconds from Graham Hill. So it's a pretty good race between these fellows.
Yes, they've closed the gap on Jimmy Clark because Clark now is streaking down through Shell Straight as the rest of the field. And there he goes, he's got past him. It's Courage now who's moved up another spot. He's got past Geoghegan as they set down for the run down Shell Straight. There's the second car at this stage. Graham Hill coming through, down on the 5 in second, and he's right in the rough there as he's getting the pressure on him now. From the Flying Londoner, Courage coming through in the little 1.6 litre McLaren Cosworth. And there they go, and look at him pressing him hard now, getting a little bit on the rough, but not bad, he's keeping it quite controllable. Geoghegan slipped back now, but the pressure was really on.
Clark round Castrol corner, into the straight again, bearing down on the line. Still 1:12.9.
And here they come. Graham Hill, here's Courage, and they're opening up a gap now on Leo Geoghegan. They've pulled out about 15 yards on Geoghegan at this point as they go into Lukey. The leader's still Jimmy Clark. He's going up through into Lucas corner. Here he comes now. The Lotus 49. Braking, setting it up for the corner. We'll see his entry into it is very good indeed. You'll see the tail just come around just a little bit as he sets it up. That's one of the cars that have been lapped, slower car at this point. We're waiting now, and here they arrive, the second and third car. Graham Hill really working hard now from being pushed by Piers Courage coming through with the 1600cc car. Clark's gone through. Hill it is in the outside lane, followed then by Courage, back to Geoghegan.
Leo Geoghegan went through in 1:13, and that's the difference between these three and the leader. Clark at about 1:12.8 or 9, and they're going through at about 1:13.
Yes, we'd like to show some of the other cars, but this is so interesting, this duel, that you can see them coming through there, and it's all up now to see if Courage can get through.
40 laps gone, 10 laps to go.
10 laps to go in the 50-lap race here at Suerfers Paradise, and it's still Graham Hill going in now on the braking area, down into 100 yards, and the McLaren closing right up in behind him there, just treating him a little bit with respect on the braking. Hill having a bit of trouble. Here they come, swinging in through the S's. Hill going on the power now. You can see the Lotus virtually leap ahead as it goes out under the 330-odd brake horsepower as it goes away. Into the main straight once again.
They've picked up about a second on the leader. Graham Hill went through 9 seconds in arrears of Jimmy Clark.
Yes, there they go into Lukey as Jimmy Clark streaks along down through Shell Corner. Here he comes into view now for the left-hander, right-hander to us, but the left-hander to him as he swings it through. Still very relaxed, looking quite happy, and though it's very hard to predict, he was leading by a greater distance than this in the final race in the New Zealand Series at Invercargill. When he spun off, lost a lot of time, and he had to be content with second place. There they are, having a grand duel indeed. Graham Hill. A V8, 2.5 litre car, and behind him is Piers Courage in a 4-cylinder, 1.6 litre car.
A better lap for Jimmy Clark. 1 minute 12 seconds dead. Pedro Rodriguez, I think, has gone into the pits.
Yes, as the second and third car. And I think we were quite right, Clive. I do detect a miss there in the car of Leo Geoghegan's, and this could possibly be the reason why he slipped back there. He's still keeping it going, but he's not in the duel now of Fierce Courage trying to get past Graham Hill. Let's hope Courage can just take it nice and steady and doesn't go off the road there trying to do battle with the big Lotus 49. Because he's driving very, very well in through the corners. He's down on horsepower, but it's getting quite a slipstream down the main straight here, and this is helping him to stay with the big Lotus. Round they come, you can see Hill there using all the road. Courage right in behind him at this point as they streak round past the trees. They're in the big sweeping left-hander for the entry into the main straight, and there's Courage quite content to slipstream at this point. And going out of the pit area on the left-hand side of the screen, there he goes over the Dunlop Bridge. The other car on the right-hand side of the screen was Pedro Rodriguez in the V12 BRM after his second pit stop. .22 coming in. Yes, it's Page obviously in trouble. He's been left 2 or 3 times by the leaders, keeping out of the way, but not quite happy with the back end of the car. Just checking it, so whether he'll keep going or not at this point is very hard. But there's Leo Geoghegan, a little bit out on his own at this stage. One thing of interest, I think, is that these drivers take about the same line every time. Got the clock on Graham Hill. 10, 11, 12, 112.3. About 99.50 miles per hour. Yes, and the Repco Brabham of Leo Geoghegan's is definitely off tune at this point. As it went past us, it had quite a miss on it. There's Cusack's car where he's parked it on the side of the road. Here's the second car at the stage, Graham Hill. 330 brake horsepower on tap as he goes through, streaking along now at this point. On the braking, you'll notice the nose dipping there as he sets it up to the right-hander. Coming through now, the tail coming round nicely, and there, right in behind him, is the maroon McLaren Cosworth of Fierce Courage. And going under Dunlop Bridge now, Jimmy Clark has just got past Denny Holm. Down in towards Lukey Corner they go. Five laps to go. Jimmy Clark in Shell Straight now. Streaming down the back straight now into Firestone Corner with some heavy braking. On the power again as he goes up the short Ansett Straight into the Lucas Corner. There's the blue flag. Yes, he's overtaking one of the slower cars, keeping well out of his way now. Clark setting it up. And the 2 cars following him were Denny Holm and Kevin Bartlett. Here's Graham Hill, Fierce Courage, 1.6 litre, 222 brake horsepower, chasing this big 2.5 litre car of Hill. Courage, look at him how close he is there now. He's looking right down into the gearbox of the Lotus. 4 laps to go. Jimmy Clark goes through after the last 25. He's got the clock on him again. Still leading by about 8 or 9 seconds from Graham Hill. And a few spots of rain now just starting to fall. There's a little bit around, but not much. Hill's still in second place. There's the leader, Clark. The laps running out rapidly now as they circulate very, very fast indeed. second car still Graham Hill of the United Kingdom in the 2.5 litre Lotus, followed then by Piers Courage, also of Britain, driving the 1.6 litre McLaren Cosworth. Fourth place, the first Australian at this point is Leo Gagan.
Clark comes round out of Castrol into the main straight again. 9, 10, 1 minute 30.
Yes, Clark is the most interesting point at this stage is whether Courage can get around past Graham Hill. Hill it is that's starting to pull out a little bit more of a gap, but not much, just trying to get the slower cars. Denny Holm is right in just in front there, coming up to him fairly rapidly at this stage. And there's Hill, still holding second place, around about 9 or 10 seconds behind the leader Jimmy Clark at this stage. The rain just a few drops, still around in the air, but here's the little McLaren Cosworth on Courage. Into the right here, then round the loop and to the entry into the main straight, where they'll catch about 150 miles an hour. There's Clark just going past Kevin Bartlett. As you can see, the second and third cars appearing on the screen.
Only 3 laps to go. It's Jimmy Clark leading by about 8 or 9 seconds from Graham Hill, then coming Piers Courage, and then Leo Gagan of Australia.
Clark has just lapped Kevin Bartlett. There he goes now, along the short straight, onto the brakes, sets it up, power back on again now. You see the tail coming around, just a nice speed to keep it. Right in behind him now is Bartlett, who's been lapped. There he goes. Pressure off. There's the Ferrari right in behind him.
In the BRM V12, car 11, Rodriguez is rejoining the race. Apparently wants to be a finisher.
The car behind Clark is the leader, and here's the second and third men.
With only 2 laps to go, it's still Jim Clark leading by about 8 seconds from Graham Hill, then coming Piers Courage and Leo Gagan. We've got the clock on Jimmy Clark.
Yes, well, the pressure's all off him now, as he's still got this 9 or 10 second lead, and he's just circulating now, running out the laps. Clark setting it up. Still going as fast as ever. Goes through the corners about 80 and 90 miles an hour.
Ticket number 20084.
And here's the ticket flash. Clark, and there it is, being waved. Also getting it. We're looking now, there's the second man home, Graham Hill. Piers Courage third. The fourth car yet to come into view, and here he comes now down the straight, the white Repco Brabham of Leo Gagan. Signalling that he's stopping down through under the Dunlop Bridge. Well, they would have to be made official, of course, but that's the way we saw them finish. Jimmy Clark in the Lotus 49, Graham Hill, also mounted in a Lotus 49, would be second. Third would be Piers Courage in the 1.6 litre McLaren Cosworth. and fourth place would go to Leo Gagan in a 2.5 litre Repco Brabham. And there's Clark acknowledging the applause of the flag marshals as he travels around through. His second win of the series. He won the Lady Wigram Trophy race in Christchurch, New Zealand. He had 2 failures in Auckland. In the New Zealand Grand Prix, he had the misfortune to blow up on lap 44 of the 50-lap race. And then at Levin, he went off the road. So that was 2 races out. There he is, removing the face mask. And then in Christchurch, he won by 7 seconds from the Ferrari of Chris Amon, who'd won the previous 2 races. At the fourth and final race in the New Zealand Series, Jimmy Clark was leading very, very comfortably when he got into a bit of strife, spun off, and he was second to Bruce McLaren, who drove a V12 BRM by 10.6 seconds. But here he is in the 5th race of the series, Jimmy Clark coming through to receive the top award for winning the Rocklands 100.
Jimmy Clark repeating his performance of last year in Queensland, when at Lakeside he won the International 100. Jim Clark of Scotland, winner of the 1968 International 100 at the Suerfers Paradise International Circuit.
And this would be this really puts the cat amongst the pigeons as far as the Tasman Cup points are concerned, because for his win today, Jim Clark will get 9 points. So that'll be 9 points for him, and on top of his score that he carried over from New Zealand of 15 points, it makes that he has now 24 points. 24 points to Chris Amon, who had to retire, who is still leading with 27. So it narrows the gap, and it makes this whole series very much more interesting indeed. And there he is, just getting it, and there's the chief mechanic, Leo Wybert, in the coloured shirt going up there. A very, very proud boy indeed. One of the New Zealand team of mechanics that Lotus have working on the cars. The car running faultless all the way indeed. As we mentioned earlier, Jim Clark with 2 retirements on the New Zealand part of the series in the New Zealand Grand Prix, when he was narrowly leading by 2 seconds to Chris Amon, and then once again at Levin in the Levin International. He made amends for this by winning the Lady Wigram Trophy race and was second at the final race in New Zealand in the Teretonga Park International. Coming over here, starting up on the first of the Australian races and winning here from his teammate Graham Hill in a Lotus 49, and Piers Courage driving very, very well indeed, and Courage getting, he gets his, I think, around about 4 points. It takes him up to about 19. Graham Hill opening his account with 6 points because he hasn't raced in New Zealand, having his first racing of the Tasman Series this year here in Australia. And there he is, Jimmy Clark, winner at Indianapolis, twice world champion, winner this year of the South African Grand Prix, and indeed starting off on the right foot for the 1968 World Championship.
No spectacular driving by Jim Clark today, but really good, honest driving by this great Scottish driver. For the first 20 laps, we saw a great dice between Jim Clark and Chris Amon, when Amon was forced to retire with engine trouble with his Ferrari. Prior to that, it had been a great race, with these two sticking grimly to each other, first one and then the other taking the lead. But Clark asserting his superiority gradually as Amon's car began to fade, and fade quite clearly as it did, and was eventually forced to retire.
I think one thing that we must mention here, Clive, is the durability of the little Ferrari engine, because he was right in behind Jimmy Clark all the way. He made a real race of it. He didn't try to save it, and he retired with, I think, about 1.5 seconds behind Clark at the time. I think also worth mentioning is the very good drive of Piers Courage.
The cup and the laurel wreath presented to Jim Clark, and now he'll do his lap of honour. The other retirements we had, once again, a very, very dismal failure by the BRM team. They're showing not particularly good at all. They seem to be just back in strife again with these V12 2.5 litre engines, and Rodriguez and Atwood not having a very happy day at all.
Frank Gardner was another disappointment with the 2.5 litre Alpha Brabham. We thought we might have seen him really figuring up in the results. And I think the drive of Leo Geoghegan through the early part of it and being first Australian home, and until his car went really sad, him and Graham Hill were having a wonderful duel indeed. Denny Holm, as we mentioned earlier, had a mishap in the earlier race in the 10-lapper in the morning. He bent his suspension, and obviously this was quite measurable by his performance this afternoon. He just wasn't going at all well, and this would be, I'm sure, the reason for this.
The 1968 International 100 at the Suerfers Paradise International Circuit on the Gold Coast in Queensland. First, Jim Clark in his Team Lotus 49. Second, Graham Hill in his Team Lotus 49. Third, Piers Courage in his McLaren Cosworth. And fourth, Leo Geoghegan in his Lotus 39. That winds up our telecast from the Suerfers Paradise International Circuit. We return you now to the studio.